Hi everyone, Jarrell here. Welcome home. I just picked up this Banjolin today. This is a George Houghton and Sons, and I've been looking up other instruments from them, and I'm seeing a lot of things that come out of the 60s. This looks quite different from those other ones that I've seen, so I suspect this is probably older than the ones that I've seen from the 60s. So it's likely from either the 40s or 50s, I'm suspecting. So I'm still doing more research, but the components and the sort of the build processes that they're using on this, it looks quite a bit older than the other ones that I've seen. So this one I've got is actually in what amounts to just pretty much pristine condition. I'll show you a close-up here of the paint on this guy, and it's really fantastic. I was able to pick this up today. I purchased it from a lady who said that she played it when she was 8 years old, and I'll be chivalrous. I won't say how old she looked. I didn't ask her. It wasn't someone that I knew personally, but I quite find these tuning keys quite handsome and interesting. They're not any material that I'm familiar with. I don't know if they're some sort of pearl, but they're not any kind of plastic that I'm familiar with. It certainly doesn't look to be bone, so I'm not sure. I'm still trying to figure out exactly what that is. I don't know if it's a kind of pearl or whatnot. And here is the only branding that's on there, but the camera's probably going to flip that around. So this is a Banjolin from George Houghton and Sons. It's in excellent condition, but there are quite a few things I'll have to fix up with it. So I've actually tuned it down, I think either a whole step or a step and a half. I've tuned it down because I don't want to tune it all the way up, because these strings look decades old. So this is in excellent condition. I'll show you the case that it came with as well. The case is in excellent condition. There's no storage damage, no water damage, no damp damage or anything. It's really fantastic. So it looks like this hasn't been touched in decades. It's just been just kept out of the way. The only real damage would be here on the tailpiece sort of cover just there that opens down. So when I was playing it, I actually had that open. Right now the strings are touching up against that plate and they're buzzing. So I'll probably put something in there, a little bit of padded tape on the inside that you won't be able to see. That'll prevent that from buzzing. So what I can tell right off the bat is I would like to tighten the head, but be very careful with that. From my understanding, this is goat skin, and it's an old instrument, so I'm going to be very careful with anything that I do with it, especially since it's in such fine condition. But I can tell that does need a little bit of tightening. I would like to replace the bridge, and I would like a bridge with a smaller footprint, so I'll be carving that out myself, because I can see where this bridge has been digging into the head over the decades, and it's formed what I can tell is a weak spot there, so I do not want this thing tuned up, putting pressure on those points, because I don't know if that's going to break if that's at full tension there. So I'll be putting together my own bridge for that. Also, the way this is carved out isn't so great because this is buzzing. You can hear that buzzing, and that's that slot cut on the metal on the bridge there is too wide, so it's rattling. I can't tell what wood that is, but I can already tell I don't like it. It's not maple. I can tell it's not maple just by seeing it and touching it and feeling it. It's something that's pretty cheap, so I I don't know what it is, but I can tell I don't like the sound of the bridge. Also, because this is such a small banjo head diameter, I would like a smaller footprint on the bridge so that the head is able to more freely resonate. The nut slots need to be lowered just a bit, so I'm going to be very careful, but I have a very strong feeling that this is bone. The nut there, just by quickly glancing at it. I'll show you here, but the action is much too high on that. I don't know if the camera will. But it's uncomfortably high, so it's going to be very difficult to get any sort of intonation that's right when you have to push down that far. Also, you have a look up here, for my preferences, and from what I can tell from the current setup, this is too high as well. I would like that to be lower. So it doesn't feel nice to play right now because of the action, but also these strings are, you know, they're decades old. Also, somebody did this fancy braiding thing, which makes it nearly impossible to tune these things because they're so tightly held in place. You can see it doesn't actually have any sort of wind, so they're actually preventing you from tuning them, and there's no tuning stability because as you're playing it, they're just tightening and loosening up, and they're tight when you're trying to tune them, and then they loosen up as you play them. This is horrendous to play right now. So yeah, the lady said that she played it when she was 8, and I think she's just held on to it, and it's been sitting around. I'll just strum out a couple chords here so you can hear the tone of it here. So it's quite lovely. There's no way the intonation was ever right on this thing because of the setup. So there's just a few basic things that I will be working on, and we'll get this sounding really fantastic. Now, I'm not sure how well the phone microphone is picking this up, but what I like about this particular instrument is that it has a tone that I've never heard before on any other instrument. This is actually my first time playing and hearing one of these banjolins in person. The attack, I would describe the attack is a lot softer than I thought it would be. I suspect it would have to do with the construction and shape of the resonator here, and the way that it connects to the body here. Also, the goat skin top. I've mostly only ever played synthetic top banjo instruments, banjo shape instruments. Regardless of the tuning, the shape, the scale length, I've only ever played synthetics. So I believe it is that goat skin that helps add to that softness in the attack. And there's a sort of a... there's a roundness to the tone that I really like, and I suspect that I will be playing this for years and decades. I'll never get rid of this thing. I actually really love it. It's in wonderful condition. You know, you tend to see these instruments that are often quite a bit beat up. There are no paint chips on this. There's no bang marks. I can tell it's barely been played. You know, there's no major scratches or anything. It's basically pristine. So I feel even more strongly towards taking care of this thing and maintaining it and keeping it in the best working possible shape, and I would like it to sound the best that it possibly can. So thanks for watching. That's all I've got to say about this guy. I just wanted to make a little bit of a recording for reference, because I'll be working on this as soon as I've got some time. When my work slows down a little bit, I'll be working on this, so I'll adjust the head and I'll redo the bridge, and I'll be putting the lightest string gauges. I think 10 to 32 or something like that is the lightest ones that I can get, so I'll be putting very light strings on there. I'll be making sure that it's wound properly. It's extremely difficult to turn these keys, which is why I didn't want to keep tuning it up. I don't want to break these, and it's because they've braided it and it's sort of like corroded itself into this impossible braid. Terrible. I guess it looks pretty, but it's like it's the worst thing that I've ever seen on one of these headstocks anywhere. So anyway, stick around. If you want, you can subscribe, and I'll be making more videos with this very soon as I sort of fine-tune and set up the instrument properly and get it set up so where it's playing the best that it possibly can. Also, feel free to subscribe if you'd like to see more instruments. I actually recently I had a trash mandolin that, you know, was a rogue student mandolin that wasn't good for anything. It was already cracked, so I chopped the neck off the body and I attached it to an old Lero banjo body, and so I'll do a video that shows the result of that. I've also got some violin stuff that I will be reviewing soon as well. So thanks very much for watching. Take care of yourself, and come back again soon.